You may have heard various phrases that point to just sitting, just being. Abide in the self, rest in awareness. There's a lot of different ways to say it or attempt to describe it. Content, this talk, videos, satsangs, books, there's certainly nothing wrong with any of them. And I love reading books about non-duality. I love having conversations about it. But that's not where the magic happens, if you want to call it that. It happens in a quiet space. When I say quiet space, that doesn't mean free from noise. It just means sitting, being, observing, relaxing, breathing. And the mind, in its constant quest to solve these problems of its own creation, tends to think that action is necessary. I've got to watch another video. I've got to listen to another talk. I've got to read another book. How quickly can I get through this book so I can get on to the next one so we can solve this problem? We got to get there. We got to get there. We got to get there. What's next? What's next? What's next? Constant, constant, constant. And yet peace is found in the space of being, in this rested place. There's a pretty concerted effort here in these talks to not prescribe anything, not tell anyone what it is that they should do. Because what is known? What do I know? I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. I had a talk about it. I know nothing, and it's beautiful. That said, because the mind wants something to do, because the ego is saying, okay, well, give me an activity, let's do something, let this be a suggestion to look at finding the space of being, sitting back. If there is a thought that arises, I should read a book, or I should watch another video, or I should listen to this talk, or I should go to this satsang, when that thought arises, have that be your hint, your indicator, your little tiny reminder to just sit with what is, to take a deep breath, to witness this absolute miracle, this absolute thing happening. That's what this is. That's what all of this is. And if hearing these words, there is some resistance that comes up and says, yeah, easy for you to say, you have something that I don't, then that's not true. It's not true. Stop this and find the space. There's plenty of descriptions of activities that can be done. I'm not a fan of guided meditations, although I don't have anything wrong with them, because I just feel like it's more content for the mind. The quiet space is the spaciousness of being and just sitting in quiet is perfect as it is. Your thought arising, the comment being made, the thought, which is just that comment being made, that's just all that it is. It's just the mind trying to override the information that's being heard and saying, no, we can't just sit. We can't just be. We've got to do something. You've got to do something, man. And you don't need to do anything. You actually don't need to sit and be. You don't need quiet. But also, you don't need another talk. You don't need to read another word. You don't need another retreat, another satsang. And again, I feel like there's a lot of qualifiers that always go on. If there's a calling, if there's a feeling to do any of those activities, proceed. There's no judgment. Literally no judgment on anything, on any efforts. No labels on good or bad. It's just what's happening. So if there is a calling to watch another video or listen to another talk, feel free to do it. And yet, coming back to this idea of a reminder of when a thought arises or a feeling, I got to be doing something else other than this thing. Have that be a little bing or a flag fly up to remind you to come into the space. Come into the space. It seems that there's a lot of like this in these, because there seems to always be an effort in describing this to sort of push back behind this body, because there's an instinct going on that what the true nature is beyond, is prior to this body, prior to this story that's going on. And so this energy sort of works with it, where there's this sort of taking back and really trying to I guess take it all in or observe it all. Do that. When that space is found and it's seen to be just absolutely amazing and beautiful, but also incredibly normal, then recognize that and do that again, and do it again, and do it in line at the store, and do it in a traffic jam, and do it when you're on hold, and just repeat that relaxation into the space of being. Or don't. I'm always going to say that. That's always going to come up. Or don't. Nothing's required. Nothing is needed. This is just sort of an exercise for fun. And yet, there are a lot of questions that get asked. Do you still watch videos? Do you still read books? Do you still do all these different things? And the answer is, videos are watched and books are read and things like that. Not for anything. Not for this not in the quest of more knowledge for what is, really more of a love of talking about it and seeing all the different flavors that are discussed and shared that come up about this, the infinite, through these manifestations, these energetic contractions of itself, talking about itself. It's completely brilliant. It's beautiful. It's amazing. So yes, books are read. Not as many videos are watched, not for any real reason, but there's always a book about non-duality being read. I love the message. I love the witnessing of it. And if all the books on non-duality went away and there were no more, that would be fine too. Find this space. Find the space of what is. Breathe into it. It doesn't need to be for 20 minutes. It doesn't need to be for 5. It doesn't need to be for an hour. It doesn't need to be for a quiet, no talking weekend. Silent weekend. No talking. Silent weekend. It can be in this moment, and this moment, and the next one, and wherever the hint, the bing, the flag, the reminder pops up and says, this is where focus should be. This is where being is. This is our true nature.